Right, we'll now go straight to the world of athletics. We're, of course, ahead of the World Athletics Championship in Budapest, Hungary. Of course, African countries like Kenya, like Nigeria, are looking forward to qualify for the relay event 4 by one 4 by 4 For Team Kenya, their men's 4 by one team are currently in Belgium, seeking to cement their place for the World Championships in Budapest. They are currently ranked 12th in the rankings. For Nigeria, they're currently out of the top 16 and will be looking to improve on those times and run much faster times at the Lagos Classics, which will go down tomorrow in Lagos to qualify for the 2023 World Championship in Budapest. Now, with the addition of fresh legs joining the team, Nigeria will hope to use this as an advantage to make the qualifying mark and, of course, be at the World Championships. Now, joining us to talk about the chances of the African teams, the chances of Team Nigeria ahead of the 4 by one and 4 by 4 in terms of the men and women category is, of course, a seasoned sports journalist. When it comes to athletics, he is very, very wonderful in that particular region. He's no other person than Christopher Maduewesi. He joins us all the way from his base in Lagos. Good morning to you, Christopher. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Favour. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on this show.
All right, let's look at the classics that will be going down in Lagos for the Nigerian team. They recently came back from Lome, Togo, where, of course, they participated in an event hoping to qualify to the World Championships. Now, we have the Lagos Classics going down tomorrow. Looking at the athletes on ground, foreign athletes and local athletes all together, how is it in terms of the hopes for Nigeria to qualify to the 4 by one and, of course, the 4 by 4 in both, gender?
Well, it's another opportunity for Nigeria to, seek qualification in the men's 4 by 100 meters, men's 4 by 4, and the women's 4 by 400 meters. Last week in Lome, they competed at the Region 2 in Togo, and it wasn't the best preparations, for them going to Togo by road. Spent over 12 hours on the road, and before they could even get a hotel, it was, everything was totaling around 16 hours, and some of them just, went into their rooms, had their bath, and, came out to compete. So it wasn't the best preparations for them. You did not expect them to run so fast, with those conditions. But they still ran 38.73. And, tomorrow is another opportunity for them to try to go one step higher. They need to run as fast as 38.50 seconds to be able to qualify in the men's 4 by 100 meters. And in the women's 4 by 4, they are currently ranked 19th, and they ran 3 minutes 29 seconds in Lome. So they need to run as fast as maybe 3 minutes 27. At the moment, Botswana is on 16th place in the qualification pool with 3:28. So Nigeria needs to run faster than that to qualify in both events.
All right, let's look at the route or the route to this stage. I mean, we've always had it with Nigerian athletes leaving it late to qualify for the World Championships. I remember the last World Championships in Oregon. It has to do with lots of activities created in Lagos for these athletes to qualify. How can this be managed in terms of leaving it late to attempt to qualify or push forward towards making the World Championships in the relay event?
It's something that we have to intentionally, seek for. For example, now, if you want to qualify for the men's 4 by 100 meters or, for any other relay event, the chance they had was in Oregon. You just need to be in the final so that you're not worried about whether you're going to be knocked off from the top 16 with your time. So if you make the final of any event of the relay, you are assured of a place. For example, the women's 4 by 100 meters will be showing on your screen. But by the way, this was in Birmingham last year at the Commonwealth Games. They've already qualified for the women's 4 by 1. And, because they made the final of this event in Eugene last year, so they had their place secured. And also the mixed 4 by 4. So we need to go about this seriously, like every other nation, any other serious nation would. You're going into a competition knowing that if you make the final, you don't even have to win, just make the final, and you've already qualified. Next year is Paris. We need to make sure we're going to the World Relays and not leaving it late until the last minute to qualify. Yeah, that's how we have to, seriously qualify for this event.
All right, okay, Chris, I'd like to ask the chances of Team Nigeria. I know, of course, tomorrow's event is another opportunity with Kenya, with Botswana, with other countries in Africa, even in the world. I mean, in the different rankings, categories of these, races. What are the chances of Team Nigeria in the 4x1 men, in the 4x4 women, and of course, in the 4x1 women, also 4x4 also, to qualify and make the World Championships?
We have a very big chance, people. So we have about five guys. Ogunlewe, guys. There is Ushorishi Ishikiri, the guy who recently won the 100 meters title. There is also, most interestingly, Gossen Brume joined the team yesterday. So, we should be able to run fast, faster than even 38.50 seconds. Kenya at the moment, were in Belgium last night. They competed, they ran 39.30 seconds in Belgium. They are actually out of the qualification pool at the moment because two of their teammates tested positive to drugs. So that 38.26 that has ranked them at number 12 is not legitimate. So they're going to be knocked off. We have a big chance tomorrow, Nigeria, to move higher up and even run maybe sub 38 seconds tomorrow.
All right, talking about Kenya, Team Kenya, they were in Belgium yesterday. They competed. You just mentioned now that the mark they have already for their rankings would not be used because of two athletes who have tested positive. I mean, looking at Kenya as a whole, they've always had issues with drugs and everything. I did like to ask two questions now. First of all, for Kenya athletes, I mean, it's not really good coming out from their camp, most especially with issues with banned substances being used to enhance their performance. How can that be tackled? Secondly, for still Team Kenya, they've gradually left the long distance race and now they are currently looking forward to the shorter race distances, talking about the 100 meters or talking about the 400 meters and then, of course, the 200 meters. What are they doing differently that, of course, has seen them over time not just leave the long distance race, but also do well in the short distance races?
Well, athletics is the #1 sport in Kenya. We've seen meets where the host and the president of the country is coming to, watch events. Ferdinand Mayal on the screen at the moment is doing great things in the sprints for Kenya. He's changing the narrative that Kenya is not all about long distance events, and it should be a worry for us down here in West Africa, because if Kenya, traditionally a long distance country, is now making inroads into the sprints, we should really, really worry, because once they get it right, once they find out that they can actually still compete favorably in this event, it's going to be almost game over for us. I was speaking to Ferdinand the other day, and he told me that he was a former rugby player. He was saying something about if he could play rugby and run very fast, and Kenya is actually doing very well in rugby, why can't he not run very well in the sprint? So imagine if they develop that mindset, but taking some fast rugby players and bringing them into athletics. It is it portends something good for Kenya athletics going forward. I think they've invested very well in athletics, and it is paying off for them.
All right, you of course, Christopher, you've got long legs, and maybe you might just be the next 100-meter champion. Who knows? You can start, tomorrow in Yaba, and then maybe
it's too late for me.
All right, thank you very much, Christopher Maduewesi, for your time. We'll look forward to having you join us some other time.
Thank you so much, Phil. Thank you for having me.